Many issues being considered by voters this election season, but one of the biggest topics for election officials and others in government, security, election integrity. Joining us now to talk more about it, State Attorney General Letitia James. Thanks so much for making time for us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And it's always an honor and a privilege to speak to individuals in Syracuse.
Oh, thanks. All right, so let's start here, Tish. We have seen across the country issues of voter intimidation, even ballot boxes set on fire. But have you seen or heard anything even close to this in New York State? Any threat to our system of voting here in New York?
No, there is no immediate threat to voters here in the great state of New York. We have received over 200 calls to our election hotline, but the calls primarily focused on misinformation, disinformation, whether or not individuals who've cast provisional ballots can vote in person. And also there was a sign in Ulster County basically indicating that individuals needed a photo ID to vote, and that was wrong, and we removed the sign with local law enforcement. And so there are no immediate threats. There will be free and fair elections here in the great state of New York, and I urge everyone to go out and exercise their right to vote.
We do have a race for Congress that is considered one of the most hotly contested in the entire country. Congressman Brandon Williams, State Senator John Mannion. How closely is your office watching, working with local officials to make sure everything stays clean, for a lack of a better word?
We have this election hotline, but we were also working with local law enforcement all throughout the state of New York and local elected officials to ensure that individuals are not intimidated or coerced, that there is no voter suppression at any of the poll sites all throughout the state of New York. We've got volunteers on the ground at poll sites, and again, we have a hotline that is dedicated to answering questions by voters in the great state of New York. And if any New Yorkers, anyone in Syracuse has any questions, they can reach out to our office at 866-390-2992. Again, the telephone number is 866-390-2992, or they can email us at electionhotline.ag.ny.gov. Please do not go to AI-generated chat bots. Please, please, please either reach out to the Office of the Attorney General, your local elected official, and or the Board of Elections to get accurate and up-to-date information.
Yeah, great advice there. We have a constitutional amendment, we in New York State, on the ballot. Make sure everybody, you flip it over, it's Prop 1. Your office was involved in defending it. What is this proposition about? Maybe also, too, what is it not about? Because there's a lot of information out there on Prop 1.
Yeah, please, please, please turn over your ballot and vote for Prop 1. Prop 1 is about including in our state constitution the right to reproductive rights, the right to have an abortion in the state of New York, to safeguard that basic right. And the reason why that is that even though New York is a blue state, there's the possibility exists that in the future that we might have an administration that is hostile to reproductive rights in the state of New York. So it's really it's critically important that we embody and enshrine in the state constitution the right to reproductive rights. It is not about immigration. It is not about LGBTQ. Those rights, the right with respect to the LGBTQ community, again, against discrimination, is already in our human rights law. And with respect to sports, it is in Title IX. So it's really critical. And with regards to immigration, the misinformation and disinformation that exists out there, you know, we have safeguards in place to ensure that individuals who are non-citizens who do not have the right to vote, and that they are, we have checks and balances to ensure that that does not happen in the great state of New York.
Got about 45 seconds left. Just overall, what's at stake this election?
Oh, there's so much at stake right now, and I'm glad you asked that question. Our basic freedom, our basic liberties, and our democracy is at stake. And so individuals should exercise these foundational principles to our democracy. And it's really critically important that individuals know that we do not bow down to dictators or autocrats, that the rule of law is abiding. And it's really critically important that we protect precious rights that it should apply to all of us, and that we not be separated or divided by hate and individuals who have a list of grievances. differences, and that we do not use the government, the whole of government, against any individuals who are enemies within the state. That individuals have the right to dissent and to disagree with individuals without basically espousing hate or violence in the state of New York or anywhere in this country. What we need to do is be united by our basic principles, that we are all one, and that we should all abide by the rule of law and the Constitution, and those principles that we uphold each and every day. As the Attorney General of the state of New York, I will not allow anyone to be intimidated, coerced, at the ballot box. And as the Attorney General of the state of New York, it is my mission and my duty to uphold the law, and to ensure that the law applies to the least amongst us as well as to the most powerful amongst us.
State Attorney General Letitia James, really appreciate your time. I know you're busy. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate you, and I hope to see everyone soon in Syracuse. Please go out and vote.